Welcome back to On the Rise as Jesse Marsch has called up his first squad post Copa America success, and it's a very exciting squad that is set to take on the likes of the USMNT and L3 in a very important window where he's facing the two other giants in CONCACAF, in of course Mexico and USA. And it's a very exciting squad with a lot of key talking points, especially around the two dual national call-ups, which are extremely exciting to see in this roster as Jesse Marsch recruits his second and third dual nationals to his Canadian men's national team, but also some key players leaving out through injury and also some other surprise additions. It's a very exciting squad and we are going to break it down position by position. But before we do, guys, drop down to the comments, let me know your thoughts and opinions around this Canadian men's national team, and if you guys would have changed any things, or if this is the squad you guys wanted to see called up. Hit that like button, drop a sub, guys, and I appreciate all the support. It's been absolutely incredible, and we're going to jump straight into things with the goalkeepers, because there's quite a surprise around the goalkeepers, in my opinion, with Maxime Crépeau, Dane St. Clair, and Jonathan Sigur. This is very exciting to see Maxime Crépeau and Dane St. Clair. Of course, those are the two locks, very good, very top keepers, but the talking point is around the number 3 goalkeeping position. Of course, Tom McGill has held that spot for some time, and there might be some speculation now with Tom McGill being dropped around the Canadian men's national team roster, and some supporters might be talking about the situation of Jonathan Sigur being the Canadian men's national team number 3. And for me, that is clearly not the case here. When I look at Jonathan Sigur being added to this Canadian men's national team, I really think it's just a circumstantial decision, with the likes of Tom McGill getting some consistent minutes now, actually starting games, playing for a very decent side in Milton Keynes Dons in England, and also just posting his first clean sheet on the weekend against Carlisle United, where MK Dons won 3-0. Tom McGill is starting consistent football now. He is starting week in and week out, and it's a great opportunity for Tom McGill to stamp down a first team place at MK Dons and consistently play top level football and not be a backup or a reserve goalkeeper. And if he can consistently start those kinds of games, he will be a locked on starter at MK Dons, and it's just a great opportunity for him to prove himself as a starter. So that is why I think he's been left out as the number 3. I don't think it's a performance issue, because he has been playing very well with MK Dons, like I said, earning that clean sheet. But I think it's just a situational standpoint where Jonathan Sigur is being called up. It's also another chance and another opportunity for Jesse Marsch to be able to look at another goalkeeping option, to look at Jonathan Sigur firsthand and say, how does he play against a Jonathan David? How does he play against a Kyle Larin or a Alphonso Davies in training? And yes, he might have seen him previously, he might have watched him on tape, he might have been at a CF Montreal game, but it's just a great chance to watch him firsthand. And Jonathan Sigur hasn't been up to his regular standards. He hasn't been as good as previous years. It's been an up and down season for Sigur, and I really think right now he's our 4th best goalkeeper. But I think it's just a circumstantial situation why he's been called up over Tom McGill. But the defenders are a very exciting group to be looking at right now. We have Sam Adekubi, Moise Bombito, Derek Cornelius, Alphonso Davies, Alistair Johnston, Richie Larea, Kamal Miller, and Joel Waterman. For me, this might be one of the more exciting options right now in defenders, because we have now depth once again at left back with the returning Sam Adekubi. This is clearly our backup left back, and the fact that Sam Adekubi is back, it means that Jesse Marsch doesn't have to rely on Ali Ahmed being able to fill in for Alphonso Davies or Richie Larea sliding over to cover out left back. We now have a true out-and-out left back who is playing there and is a backup solidified option who has proved himself at the top level for the Canadian men's national team before. Maybe not for Jesse Marsch, and we will now be able to see if Sam Adekubi is able to be up to the task of a Jesse Marsch style of play, which I think he will be. And I think it's going to be very interesting to see how Sam Adekubi can fit into this Jesse Marsch setup, because he is, of course, going to be the backup in a 4-3-3, a 4-2-3-1, or a 4-4-2. And ultimately, Sam Adekubi is just amazing to see back on this roster. He's been a great servant for this national team, and I think he's a fantastic option as a backup left back. You can say Ali Ahmed did fantastic there last time at the Copa America. You can say Richie Laryea has done a great service at left back as well, filling in for Alphonso Davies at times. But at left back, at right back, you want players who are consistently there and who trade at left back or trade at right back, whether it's their starting position, not their backup position, not a second filler, where they start there week in and week out. And Sam Adekubi, he is a left back. He's a left-footed left back, and he knows that position. He knows it to a T, and it's very exciting to see him on this squad. Ultimately, the other ones, the other call-ups, Bombito, Cornelius, Johnston, Davies, Kamal Miller, Richie Laryea, they're sure bets. They're very exciting to see there. But for me, I think it's very exciting to see Joel Waterman. Just of course, the track record he has, where he's come from, where he's been, the CPL to the MLS, to CF Montreal, and he's played decently well this season, in my opinion. And I think it's a very good call-up. It's a very exciting call-up just for Joel Waterman to be on the squad. And to have 4 center backs that you trust, know will give you that constant top level. It's very exciting to see. And I also would love to see how Joel Waterman is able to fill in a Jesse Marsch type of setup and a style of play. Because, of course, right now, Moisey Bombito and Derek Cornelius more than likely should start both these games. Because these are still very important games for Jesse Marsch. Although they are friendlies, they're very important matches. And I think he will take that into these matches. I don't think he's going to play a B-side. I don't think he's going to line up with second stringers, with depth players. I think Jesse Marsch is going to want to win these games, and I really think he's going to want to build on chemistry for Moise Bombito, Derek Cornelius, Alphonso Davies, and Johnston heading after the Copa America, and these are important games for him to do that. But seeing Joel Waterman, seeing Kamal Miller, Sam Adekubi, it's bright side. It's very exciting to see them there, even though they are depth pieces. And moving on to the midfield. I think the midfield is one of the best midfielders we've seen in the Canadian men's national team player pool, even without Ismael Kone. The midfielders we do see get called up the September window are Ali Ahmed, Mathieu Choinière, Stefan Eustáquio, Jonathan Osorio, and the new Canadian in Niko Sigur. This is extremely exciting to see him put as a midfielder, but also see Jesse Marsch talk about Niko Sigur as a midfielder in his plans for the Canadian men's national team. That is why I signal that we might be playing a 4-3-3, a 4-3-2-1, or potentially a 3-5-2 of sorts, because Niko Sigur is the perfect 6 for this Canadian men's national team. And I'll look into more in depth as well. But looking at the midfield versatility, looking at the midfield depth now, we have that 6. We have multiple 8s. Ali Ahmed can play at a variety of positions. Stefan Eustáquio is there to play the 6. More than likely will play at the 8. But you have also Jonathan Osorio, who's your leader. He's your linchpin on that team. And he's going to be a true guy in the dressing room who can know who is going to be looked to as the leadership role. And now you don't have Sammy Piet there anymore. Jonathan Osorio really takes the reins as a leader in that midfield department. And now you look at Ismael Kone not even being there, and you see the likes of Ahmed, Choinière, Eustáquio, Osorio, and Sigur, and it's such an exciting midfield group. For me, I'm not overly scared anymore to see no Kone, but I think it's going to be very interesting to see how Jesse Marsch lines this team up, because he, of course, wants to play the midfield 3. He's talked about that, and now without Kone there, he's not going to be able to line up with his preferred midfield 3. So I would love to see him go with a Choinière, Eustáquio, Sigur, just to test it out, because when you look at that midfield, they're going to have to be played. They're going to have to try that midfield 3 eventually, and Choinière is going to have to be a midfield versatility player in that midfield 3, whether it's to replace a Eustáquio or a Kone. He's going to have to slot in that midfield eventually, and who knows whether it's going to be Osorio, whether it's going to be Choinière. It's going to be very interesting to see if he lines up a midfield 3 and who that third midfielder will be. For me, I think it should be Choinière, but you can't go wrong with of course, the leadership of a Jonathan Osorio, especially when you play USMNT and L3. It's a very important match. So having Jonathan Osorio, having Choinière, having Ali Ahmed to pair alongside those other 2 midfielders, I think it's a great situation for Jesse Marsch to find himself in. But when you look at the rest of the squad at the striking position, when you look up top to the front of the pitch, you got Stephen Afrifa, who I might have butchered his name, guys. I apologize, but Stephen Afrifa is in the squad of the Sporting KC dual national, along with Theo Bair, Jonathan David, Kyle Larin, Liam Miller, Tani Oluwasi, and Jacob Schaffelberg. Guys, this is a very exciting forward line. And you got to remember, this is also leaving off Ike Ogbo. This is leaving off some talented forwards, Promise David as well. This is a very exciting Canadian men's national team. Although it might not be our A team with leaving off Tajon Buchanan and Ismael Kone, for me, this is an extremely exciting squad. Stephen Afrifa, I think, is a very fun player to see on the squad. It's not just Jesse Marsch's third dual national recruit, but it's a very exciting dual national recruit. He's still only 23 years old, turning 24, and he's playing for Sporting KC. Has 4 goal contributions this season, whether it's 3 goals and 1 assist. He has also been a very good threat off the bench, as he has started the likes of 5 matches this season while being a part of 18, having 482 minutes, 3 goals, 1 assist. He's had a very decent season and has started to impact the Sporting KC squad even more as the season has gone on. And you might ask, have Sporting KC been using him lots? Well, more recently, yes, they have, but he is starting to integrate himself into this squad. I won't be one of those people that says I've watched loads of Stephen Afrifa, because I personally haven't, and I'm not going to be those guys to say they love him, to say they've watched all of his game, because I personally haven't. I've watched bits here and there, but what I've seen from him is he's a very quick, very exciting dribbler, and ultimately, you can see that from his stats. Successful take-ons are absolutely outstanding from Stephen Afrifa. On an FB ref for his successful take-ons per 90, it's 4.29 successful take-ons per 90. And he is in the 99th percentile, which is absolutely incredible. And for touches in the opponent's penalty area, he sits at 5.7 per 90, which puts him in the 91st percentile. Some stats you look at and say, okay, doesn't really matter, but those stats are very exciting, especially successful take-ons, because take-ons, you're never usually in the 99th percentile, but when he is in the 99th percentile, it's extremely exciting. And the fact that we also have other forwards, because look at Theo Bair playing well so far to start off his career at AJ Auxerre, Jonathan David having an incredible start to the season for Los Lille, Liam Miller just getting his feet running at Hull City, Kyle Larin just got a start today for RCD Mallorca, Tani Oluwasi, of course, his first dual national recruit as the CanMNT manager, and Jacob Schaffelberg. This squad for me is extremely exciting. We see all 3 of Jesse Marsch's dual national recruits on this squad: Tani Oluwasi, Stephen Afrifa, and Niko Sigur. For me, there's so many different takeaways. I'm going to have a couple of different videos breaking down this roster, especially looking at the 5 major takeaways from this roster, because there's so much to talk about. And breaking down the squad is so exciting because I really love this squad. And that is without Tajon Buchanan, that's without Ismael Kone, even Tom McGill. For me, I think he's a great goalkeeper. I think he's going to prove it at Milton Keynes Dons. Guys, ultimately, it's a very exciting squad, and it's amazing to see Niko Sigur. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say down below in the comments. Hit that like button, drop a sub. Appreciate all the support, guys, and I'll see you guys for the next one. Peace.